First of all, let me just apologise for the state of this jumper. Let me explain the situation because it's very, very creased. I haven't ironed it. I've just finished recording Talk West Ham with Gio, so it's yesterday, as far as you're concerned. We've travelled back in time. And I was in a bit of a rush. I realised we had to start it. And I just finished my dinner, went to the washing pile, and I didn't go to the iron stuff, went to the unironed stuff, as you can tell, went to the unironed stuff. And I only really realised once. Anyway, that's it. So apologies. It's not me that's creased, it's the top, and it's absolutely my fault because I didn't have time to iron it and make myself presentable for you lovely people. Whilst we were doing the Talk West Ham, which I think went very well, by the way. We'll be back next Monday, but that will be for a transfer special. Transfer deadline day, you see. That's that one. So I'll probably wear something yellow to commemorate that, and creased, of course. But the hot topic was probably Jesse Lingard, because it was relatively breaking news, and because I was so hurriedly coming down to record the video, I hadn't really done much research, didn't know much about it at all, so it came from left of field. So when I was asked, what do I think of Jesse Lingard, I just answered sort of honestly what I thought then and there. But I had anticipated from what the little glimmer I'd seen just from everywhere, from forums, social media, and you know, a few comments on videos before, that it wouldn't be a universally popular transfer. So I was a little bit taken aback, a little bit surprised by almost everybody saying that they thought this wasn't a bad deal. And I'm pleased for that. I think we've got to separate the deal from the player, from the man, although they all do feed in to one another. I do feel we're dealing with a remarkable young man here. And what I must say is I think the biggest factor in maybe this deal not going through is his mother's illness. Now, his mother became very, very ill to such an extent that she couldn't look after Lingard's younger brother and sister, who I believe were 14 and 11. So Lingard ended up looking after his siblings as well as his young child. Now, that's remarkable. I mean, I do think that's remarkable. There's lots of people that have to do that in life, but in essence, he became carer to his brother and sister, and also he was a father as well. At the same time, as I understand it, his grandfather, who was another big factor in the family, got prostate cancer and fell very ill as well. This coincided with him falling out of the Man U team, and I just want to separate this from the reason why he wanted a team, because I think anybody would understand that's a really, really difficult time for anybody. But I held him in quite high regard anyway. And the reason I held him in quite high regard is I've seen him before. I've seen him with fans. I saw the story and the video where the fans couldn't get to the game and he sorted out the tickets. I think he gave them 500 quid spending money and stuff like that out of his own pocket, went to cash point and stuff like that. This is somebody with character. This is, as I say, this is a remarkable young man. And his family issues and how he's dealt with them just further cemented that for me. But I didn't know about them. All I would say is, if that is still the case, then I really can't see how he would move to West Ham anyway. Because if he is up in Manchester, his mum is still in and out of hospital in Manchester, and he's having to look after the whole family. I can't really see how he would move to London, basically. So that's the only thing I'm thinking, well, you know, how true is this? Unless, hopefully, and fingers crossed, his mother has made a recovery and she's, you know, and she's now able to look after the family, in which case it might happen. But in terms of a player, he's more than good enough to play for West Ham. More than good enough. Where would he play? Well, that's a different question altogether. I could see a situation whereby we keep on saying we need a central midfielder. We know that Moyes likes his work rate, and I'm talking about, well, not just him, likes everybody's work rate. But sometimes I feel certainly that Fornals is played out of position on the left. Why does he play there? Because he's swinging in loads of crosses with his left foot? No. He is there to protect Aaron Cresswell. He is there to give extra work rate down that left-hand side. Bearing in mind, he's already shown himself more than capable of playing players out of position. We can name 5 or 6 here. Would David Moyes play Jesse Lingard on the left? Of course he would. He'd get the work rate out of him. But what would that do? Aside from upset Said Benrahma, it would liberate Pablo Fornals, the fornicator, to go and play in the middle as a central midfielder. That immediately makes our midfield stronger. So if either Declan Rice or Thomas Souček are out, Fornals can go and play in the middle. There is a strengthening of the squad there. I also believe that, obviously Jesse Lingard can play as a number 10. We know this. Could he play him on the right? He probably would. Jesse Lingard is not super pacey. He's not slow either. But he's quicker than Yarmolenko, and Yarmolenko seems to get enough games on the right for West Ham. So I think that would play its part. At £7 million, which is what it's rumoured to be, it's cheap. It's good business. The wages are a factor. And Irish Tommy popped onto our Talk West Ham, and he said it is important that we do not tie this guy down to wages that would make it prohibitive to move him on. And by that, I think Tommy means do not sign this guy up on 110 grand a week. I do get the impression, just going back to what I said about Jesse Lingard at the start, that this is not a man that's motivated by money. This is a family-orientated man. This is a man that cares about clearly cares about himself, his family, cares about the fans. Would possibly not be doing this for a payday. If Jesse has deemed it's safe and it's okay in terms of his family situation to move away from Manchester, then he's going to be doing so for footballing reasons. That boy, as I say, boy, he's 27. He has not played enough football in his career, and not just in the last 18 months where he's been looking after his family. He's not played enough in his career before that. You never really felt that he did any more than a year as a first name on the team sheet or anything like that. He had I'm talking about in terms of playing for Manchester United, he had a Danny Welbeck feel about him, which Danny Welbeck was never quite the main guy for Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson. This has a similar thing. Because of that, he's not going to have many miles on the clock. He's not played many games. He's not going to be burnt out. He's not going to be tired. He's going to be fresh physically, hopefully. And I think he'll be fresh mentally. Aside from the fact of everything he's had to deal with. But as I say, you have to assume that if he wants to get back to football, things are okay. Things are better. If he's doing that, he just wants to play football. He's already a very, very rich man. He's a wealthy man. He signed a big deal at Old Trafford. I think it's safe to assume he was probably, at the time he signed his deal, his stock was high. He was playing for England. He was featuring under Van Gaal. I would imagine he was earning well in excess of 100 grand a week. He's nobody's fool. He's not going to expect to earn as much at West Ham as he did at Manchester United. What's a reasonable amount for him? Wages, because wages are a factor, as Tommy suggested. 60? Would he come at 60 grand a week? I think that, excuse me, would be reasonable, bearing in mind we're getting him so cheap. I don't mind us making this signing at all. I'll go a stage further. I think I'd be excited to see it. I think it improves the squad. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Swapping Robert Snodgrass for Jesse Lingard is an improvement. He's technically decent. Can score goals. Decent enough finisher. Decent enough passer. Got a trick in him as well. You know, 7.5, 8 out of 10 for pace. Something like that. He's not rapid, but not slow either. I think he has an awful lot to the squad. And you get the impression that Moyes would trust him. Moyes would look at, if he was on the bench, Moyes would look and think, I can do that. Even if he wasn't. Even if Jesse Lingard started, Moyes would have 4 hours on the bench. So he'd be looking at the bench, he'd still have another player on the bench that he'd trust. And he would bring on. I think he offers quite a lot to the squad. And I think he also gives us a little bit of depth. He's cup-tied, as Gio mentioned in the video. He's cup-tied, but it still gives us some strength. It still allows us to play one of those players in the cup, knowing that Lingard's going to play in the league. I quite like it. I do quite like it. Just moving on very, very quickly. I don't want to talk about the young left-back today. I need to look a little bit more into it. But, again, I was quite excited to look at that sort of business. So I'll look more at the player. Today's match day. Something I'd forgotten. Completely passed me by in our preview, which was when we last played Crystal Palace, and it was 1-1, but I felt Crystal Palace were better than us. I thought Christian Benteke ran us absolutely ragged. I really did. But there was rescue, wasn't it? Overhead kick by Sebastian Haller. But when I remembered that, well, of course, Sebastian Haller was playing. Mikel Antonio wasn't. And obviously, Antonio is so pivotal and so crucial to the way that we play. I think that's worth pointing out, because people were saying it's important for Zaha to be back for Crystal Palace. Well, we, in many respects, missed our key attacking man in that game. And I just thought that was worth bringing up, because I said in the preview I didn't feel that Crystal Palace saw a West Ham that was reflective of how West Ham have been this season. I think they probably would have looked at West Ham and thought, hold on, what's all the fuss about? This team aren't particularly good, and they were lucky to get a draw against us. So I think Crystal Palace can't go that many levels higher than they played against us in that game. Really, really good goal. I thought Benteke, an excellent performance. He absolutely was the worst that Angelo Bonner has looked all season, was against Benteke. I thought he bullied him, completely and utterly bullied him. But I think that's as good as Palace get to play. That was nowhere near as good as West Ham get to play. And you want to go and then throw Mikel Antonio into the mix, we suddenly have a lot more of a goal threat. Granted, are we going to score the overhead kick? Well, I don't know, actually. Antonio's goal last weekend, of course, was very, very good and showed excellent technique. I don't feel they saw the best of Bowen in that game. I don't feel that Crystal Palace really saw what Thomas Souček could do in that game. And certainly, Benrahma was completely nullified by them. Out of the Benrahma and the Eze show, that little sort of playoff between them, it was certainly Eze that won out in that battle. No doubt about that at all. So I think we've got a lot going for us. I think we've got a lot of improvement. I think we can really stamp our mark on the midfield. We've seen when England play numerous games that Declan Rice can get tired. Well, Declan Rice had a rest in the Cup, and it worked out perfectly. I was against it. I wanted to play a strong team in the Cup, but Moyes rolled the dice. He got 2 sixes, didn't he? Let's be fair. And it's worked out well. So he's rested Cresswell. He's rested Rice. And I think we can dominate that central midfield area. I think he's also, because he's rested Bowen, he will have a stormer of a game on there. Show people what he's really about, Bowen. And Soufal comes back in there. And whilst I'm pretty sure that Wilfried Zaha will be trying to target Craig Dawson, Matt Dawson, any Dawson you want. Whilst I think he'll be trying to do that, Wilfried Zaha's still got to get past Soufal first, and Soufal's shown himself to be really, really good on one-on-one situations. Bag of tricks, Zaha, but I wonder and I hope that he may well be coming up against the best fullback opponent that he will face this season. Maybe with the exception of his old mate, Wan-Bissaka. So lots to look forward to. I do think these are exciting times, a really exciting couple of days. I wanted to speak about Jesse Lingard now because we get the match day today. Then tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the game as well. Transfer windows closing. We've got youngsters coming through. It looks like we're signing young players, signing some experience as well. I mean, this is really, really good, and I'm desperately looking forward to tonight. Don't want to talk too much about 4th place and things like that. It's at West Ham. West Hamitis is getting me. Do we dare to dream? Finding it a little bit difficult. But I tell you what, if we get to the ends of tonight, so what's the game, 6 o'clock? We get to 7:45 tonight, and we got 3 points. You may well find I am very, very excitable in that review.